Well, what's going on, everybody? This is Superintendent Mike here, and welcome to part 4 of my E3 2014 recap with the big companies and their conferences, which include Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft, Sony, and then we're going to finish it all off with Nintendo. So this one is part 4, I believe, if I can actually count, and it includes Sony. Now, right out of the gate, I was kind of expecting Destiny, because they're really pushing that game. I like Destiny, but here's the thing. It's really confusing because I was like, oh, it's another Halo game. Yay, because they don't explain the story that much. Yes, you hear a guy in the background and whatnot, but I don't know. I'm kind of lost with this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of other people are lost with this game too. I just put my phone on silent, which I was getting kind of annoying. But I think some people are lost because all they showed was you just running around killing monsters with epic music in the background, deesh, deesh, like something like that. I don't know, but it was like some like doomsday music or like happy music and such like that. You killing monsters and people can join your match and kill an even bigger monster. But they're like, what's the story, Bungie? What's the story? You are famous for being storytellers. You made one of the... I know this is very controversial, but in my opinion, it's probably top 10 franchise of all time with Halo. Even though I didn't experience the old Halo games as much because I just played the campaigns. I never really owned an older Xbox console. And I didn't own a 360 until 2012 with my PlayStation 3s, again, the yellow light of deaths, blah, 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 blah. But, well, that's why I jumped on 360 because of that, because 2 of them died. But anyways... Destiny, other than it's being confusing, no story and such, it looks like a good game. That was a weird sound if the mic picked up on it. But I'll definitely be picking that up. It looks fun, and I can't really wait to play it. And they're making a PS4 white bundle with it, which is interesting. So they're really promoting the game. All content is going on there first. I'm pretty sure you can pre-order it for every platform except the Wii U. Poor Wii U. We'll talk about that in the next episode. Next thing I want to get to is more Far Cry 4. Now, in this press conference, they showed not like what Ubisoft showed wasn't gameplay. It was a trailer to get you pumped up for it, showing off the bad guy, what he's like, what you're going to do and such. But in this one, they actually showed some gameplay, which was really exciting. And it looks really good. The mechanics look nice and smooth. What blew my mind was not only was it co-op, I was really kind of expecting them to do co-op because they really need to throw in co-op into Far Cry to make it more interesting. But the fact is that of course it's online, but the other player doesn't need to own the game if it's on PlayStation 4. Now that is going to be a huge selling point because I know the games coming for PS4 are going to convince people to come at it, especially for the final game I'm going to talk about, which they released at the very end of the conference, which blew my mind, and I literally, excuse me, but literally shit my pants because I did not expect that with the huge mess that Naughty Dog is in right now with their whole staff and everything. It's so out of whack, and I'm amazed and really appreciative that they are telling us that they are working on that game and it's coming out next year. But getting back to Far Cry 4, I think they said it was only on PlayStation 4 that a second player can hop into your game without owning the game. Now, of course, that's going to be a loss on sales, but not necessarily, because your friend that you want to join in Far Cry 4 on PS4 isn't necessarily going to be online all the time. So if you want to play the game by yourself, you're going to have to get the game. It's a good little feature to show your friend the game off, and they're like, oh, this game looks fantastic. Thank you for letting me play it since you pre-ordered it, since you're a huge fan of Far Cry series. And the guy that joins the game didn't really play that much of Far Cry. He wants to play it because the story is always different in every game, which is a little bit of a convenience. So then they go out and buy the game. And really, even if they just join their game all the time, which I highly doubt they would do, because people's schedules are always different, even though they somehow make a workaround with that, like once or twice a week, I still think it's not going to be that much of a net loss. It's coming on all platforms. The game's going to sell like crazy. PS4, I would say at least 2-3 million copies by the time it comes out, to be honest. And how many PS4s sold, I think it's going to sell very well. Especially with this selling point, it's going to be one of those must-owns for the PlayStation 4. And now let's talk about the indie games. There's one flight indie game. I'll probably mention it in the description or on the screen or something like that if I remember to edit. But the indie games were really interesting. There's just one of those $10. It's like these two little butterfly things intersecting into little passageways, and they have to like meet each other at the end. That game looked really nice for $10. Probably pick that up. Be nice to those developers because it looked really gorgeous. Looked like it. And then there was one game looks like it used Ubisoft art. It might have been the other one of the other conferences. Probably the Ubisoft one, of course. But what was it? Oh yeah, it was Valiant Hearts. I mean, it looked really good. The story was really sad, but I don't know if I'll be picking it up. We'll just have to see. It sparked a little interest into me because I'm really into storytelling, but I don't know. There's really not much to talk about. The stories in World War One and these 4 characters and such. But getting back to this Far Cry 4, I hope they implement the same mechanics as in the past Far Cry 3. With the animals and such, it looks to be more open world, which is really exciting. Can't wait for that. More hours to spend in that game. Like I've spent enough in Far Cry 3 and Borderlands 2. Which I was really surprised. Speaking of Borderlands, the pre-sequel, I'm surprised they didn't, it didn't come out to any of the companies, like even Sony or like Microsoft or such. I'm really surprised. They need to get that game out there, show some gameplay. Even though they've shown gameplay, which it literally looks like a copy and paste from Borderlands 2. That's not the point. Story's different. Mechanics are somewhat different. Cool new abilities. It looks fun, but is it a $60 game? No! That's not a $60 game. Come on. You gotta be kidding me. Just like Titanfall, which I've actually got on sale on Origin for $30. I didn't get the season pass yet because I'm not sure if I want to continue playing it or not. But as of late, it's really fun. Highly recommend getting on PC until June 16th. It's on sale. Might be on sale on other platforms too, but it's a really fun game. I recommend it. I was very skeptical about it because watching it, I was like, oh, it's overhyped. It's just mechs and such. But actually playing it, it's really fun. It flows really well. So, the final game I want to talk about another thing I want to talk about before that PlayStation is they killed the momentum with the Sony TV, the PlayStation TV, whatever, and then the Heroes series. I mean, come on, they killed so much momentum with that. It's kind of funny, but not funny at the same time because I kind of screwed them over in a way. Now let's talk about the final game that I was like so happy crying. I was like, oh, and it's like amazing that they were able to show it, and it was Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. I was like, oh, when I saw Sony Computer Entertainment, I was like, it couldn't be. There's no way. They were gonna show Naughty Dog after that, and right when they showed Naughty Dog, everybody went nuts. And then they showed Drake on the ground, and it was crazy. You heard the story in the background, the fly, most detailed fly ever. And then you just see Drake wake up and wander off in the forest. You see not exactly where he is, but the music, the mood, and everything was just so just amazing. You see the skeletons in the cages. It was just a really good teaser to what's to come in the final Uncharted game, which the title's very depressing because if he dies, that'd be really sad because a lot of people have attached to this character very well. Almost as much as I've been attached to Lara, which if I had a PS3, which I don't really feel like getting a third one, I would be let's playing the older Uncharted games because I love the Uncharted series, probably in my top 5, top 10. Not as much as Tomb Raider, but The Uncharted series, very good storytellers there at a Naughty Dog, very good. And also you had the Last of Us remastered or whatever they're gonna call it for PS4. I forgot, but it was something like that. But I am so hyped that Uncharted 4 Thieves End is coming out in 2015. I honestly didn't expect it. A lot of people, I'm sure, are thinking the same thing, that it's not going to come out. It wouldn't come out until 2016, 2017. But this is a critical game for the PlayStation 4. This is probably the biggest game that may ever come out for it. And there's going to be a much larger installment base by the time this game comes out. I think almost every person that has a PlayStation 4 will get this game. It's a must. I mean, the Uncharted series has sold amazingly well on the PlayStation 3 and 2, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the first either one or two came out on PS2. I believe it was Uncharted 1, but I could be wrong. I know 2 was on PS3, but who knows, I could be wrong. But that is like so exciting that they're actually telling people that it's coming out in 2015, that they're actually working on it. But they have a long way to go, and I think it's going to be a tight window. To be honest, if it comes out early 2016, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but they need to get that out right before the holiday season, because they need those sales during the holiday season, because this is the biggest game that will ever come out in a really long time. And even though I'm talking about from just a PlayStation perspective, across everywhere, it's going to be a huge game. Everybody's going to be looking at this game. Maybe not so much Nintendo fans, even though I am one, but it's going to be a huge game. So that's all I have for the Sony conference. Probably didn't talk about everything, obviously, but those things I pointed out that stood out to me, especially the Uncharted 4 Thieves End. Oh, man. Whew, so much hype. So much hype. Going to be driving over the next year, and the next Tomb Raider game, of course. So much hype for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Super Nintendo Mike here, and I'll see you in the next one with Nintendo to wrap up this E3 2014 press conferences from the 5 major ones, and probably the only ones out there, I think. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.